Hello, today I'm going to show you how to create a 2D Minecraft game in Scratch. I'm going to show you how to create a relatively basic Minecraft game today. It will still, however, be quite a good one to use. It's quite easy, it looks good, so let's get started. So to start off, make a costume. It can be any size you want. And as you can see, I've set it to 32 by 32. But that also looks a bit big on there. So to solve that, just decrease the size of the costume, obviously. And yeah, that should work. Okay. It's probably best to have it in bitmap. So actually, let's start off by making a now create a dirt block. So just like brown, as you can see here, and also a stone block, and that should be all the blocks you need. So we're going to start off in the corner of the screen. So as you can see, we are at x minus 228 and y minus 168. So this is where we're going to start off. As you can see, it will be set to this position every time we press the green flag. So, how are we going to get this to generate terrain? Well, what we're going to do is use a repeat block. These are useful as they allow you to keep on doing something, and well, multiple times, and also a create clone block. As you can see, we've now got a streak of stone here, but as you can see, if we move these about, they aren't centered properly. They're kind of not properly positioned, and it just looks bad. Not how Minecraft looks. So what we're going to have a look at is here. So the size you've used for the x position, x coordinates, which is the first one, so that'll be 24. We'll go here outside of this repeat block, and the y coordinate, which here is also 24, will go here. We can also put another repeat block outside of a repeat block, and as you can see now it's not working. The reason is because we have forgotten that you are no longer at minus 168, so we're not going to create a kind of terrain-ish looking thing. So just put that there and set it to minus 168. And if you want, you could always just set x to 228 there. As you can see, now we're generating a kind of terrain. So after that, we want to make it so it fills the screen entirely. So I'm going to change that to 20. Go to turbo mode, which will speed it up, and that I think was too much. So let's see, maybe 18 will do it. Nope. 19. Nope. 20. So we are well, actually spot on. Okay, so switch the costume to the stone costume, which is, as you can see, costume 4, and show the sprite and then hide it back there. That will make it so this does not appear, which we don't want. As you can see, we've now got this kind of flat stone thing. So now we're going to make it so there's a random amount of blocks that generate per, well, kind of row. Oh, as you can see, that's created a kind of ish terrain. Yes, I know, it looks incredibly awful at the moment. Don't worry, we're going to fix that. So we can subtract 3 from this, move this stone thing to the costume change there, and then all we have to do is go another just add that 3 back in by repeating it another 3 times, but change the costume. And as you can see, now we have dart generating. After that, do the same kind of thing again, but ignore the repeat block and just have grass placed above the dart. As you can now see, we have a kind of terrain, but this really does not look very good. As you can tell that, well, it does not look smooth at all. It's randomly jumping, which we do not like, and we're going to now fix that. So create a variable, call it, so let's say smooth random, because that's kind of what we're trying to achieve. So just there, set this variable to 0, well not 0, but around 8, let's say, and then replace this block here with smooth random. So set that to -1 to 1 and put smooth random variable there. As you can see, we've now got a much nicer looking terrain, but it's also going far beyond where we want the terrain's limits to go. Because how do we expect a player to be able to wander about when the top of the world is there? No, that would be impossible. So what we're going to do is add limits to how far this can go up and down. So we're just going to check if smooth random is more than 9, and if that's the case, we're just going to set it back to 9. If it is less than 9, if it is less than, let's say, 4, we'll set it back to 4. This will stop it from going beyond these values we've just set. As you can see, we've now got a kind of terrain. Looks alright, but I would think I'd rather have it a bit higher than that. And yeah, I think that's kind of alright. 10 actually would be better. Yeah, that's good. So, now you're probably wondering how you would add grass. To do this, just go here and, well, create a costume for it. I'm just going to do this for now. It's not going to be very nice looking, I know. I'm just trying to be quick here, so I don't have to waste any of your time making costumes. That'll do. Okay, so now you see how we have this. We're just going to add another one of these blocks, and if a random number is, let's say, 6 from 5 to 8, as you see now, that's going to just decide whether it's going to place grass or not there. So just switch to that costume we just created, which is costume 5. As you can see, it is costume 5, and just put it there. As you can see, it's way too rare. Let's just see if it's actually going to work. And I believe I might have just found a culprit. Yep, that works. now let's just go and make this a much nicer looking colour. So blue for the sky. Yes, I know the contrast there is awful. I'll just make this a darker colour so you can see better. Oh, that's now turned a bit blue. Just make that proper green. And there, that should be done. Okay, now I've got this grass working, I'm going to increase the rarity again, and see, I'm just going to increase, so I've increased the rarity of this, and as you can see, we've now got grass generating. So to add flowers, you would do a similar kind of thing, but also I'll show you how to randomize it so it doesn't place grass on top of flowers and all that weirdness. Okay, that should work. That's kind of just, yeah, you please make your designs look much better than this. Okay, so we're going to create an if-else block. Actually, no we're not. We're just going to pick random from 4 to 5. So if you can add any kind of flower you want, just keep an eye on this number here. It's the number that we're going to put into the random number, or that random number generator that we're going to use. I'm going to create a few example flowers, and as you can see so we're going to pick random from 4 to 8, as that's what's there, and switch costume to these numbers. And as you can see, we've now got flowers generating instead of grass in some places. Okay, but you probably want to know how to add, well, placing and breaking blocks. Breaking blocks will be quite easy, but this will have to be temporary because we're going to use the same kind of system for placing as we are breaking. So just press, if, let's say a letter like F is pressed, it's going to delete this clone. So when I start as this clone means that when one of these clones of sprite 1 has been created, that clone will, well, run this. And as you can see, that has worked absolutely horribly. The reason is because we have neglected to put in if touching mouse pointer. As you can see, now it's much nicer. Okay, that's working. Now we're going to create a new sprite. We're going to grab one of these costumes, and we can make it around this. So, what we're going to do is create a kind of indicator to show that we're inside a block. I'm just going to create a kind of arrow. You can create whatever you want, just as long as it doesn't completely touch the edge of this block. If I didn't show you how to get something across properly, just press the copy button, and after you've done that, create a new costume. So you just press paint, then paste. Then I'm just going to erase what I've done there. And as you can see, we've now got a block. I think that's not quite perfect though, so I'll just put that there. It's going to start off where we started off the other thing. Well, sprite 1. So what x minus 228 and y minus 168. It's going to go there, and we're going to just use these blocks here. So when right is pressed, it's going to change x by 24. When left is pressed, we're going to do minus 24. And when down is pressed, minus 20. Y will be changed by minus 24. And when up is pressed, well, y is going to be changed by 24. As you can see, we can now move this thing about. And it always perfectly aligns up with the block. We're going to change it, so instead of if touching mouse pointer, we're going to use this sprite 2 that we just created. And as you can see, we have not created that very well. We've kind of, well, yeah, messed that up a bit. Let's just create it so it's a bit less thick. It's not going to touch the block as much. Yeah, I think that should do it. Kind of. Yeah, that doesn't look quite right. Yeah, I know what's the problem there. It's because it's not centered. Okay. There, that should be better. As you can see now, this is working. So, to place a block, we're going to. So when V is pressed, it's going to create a clone of sprite 1. But as you can see, it's not really doing anything. Reason is because, well, as you remember, the clone always starts off where its original sprite was. So we need to stop that from happening, but only after we generate the world. So we're going to create a variable called generation mode. And at the beginning of this, we're going to set it to 0. At the end, we're just going to set it to 1. So if generation mode is equal to 0, it's going to, well, actually that's 1. It's going to go to sprite 2. And it's also going to switch costume to another variable we're going to just call block type. And we can just change this into a slider, and we're going to set this minimum value from 1 to 5. Okay, it's going to create that, and then oh yeah, just make sure you show whenever the clone is created. And as you can see, that's now working. So I'm going to leave it there for today. I just hide these variables you just created and put in that thing in the corner, and now we've got a kind of working Minecraft game. Okay, Bye.